To sprint faster, you have to sprint often. End of video, right? But what if I told you it wasn't that simple? What if you can increase your sprint speed without needing to sprint very much at all? In this video, I'll share with you 3 training methods that'll help you get faster without sprinting, the best exercises for each method, and how to combine them with your standard speed training to get the best results. I call this training system the modified triphasic training method, and I use this system to help my athletes in my Speed Academy program go from this to this. This graph shows the importance of the first 10 yards for your 40-yard time. Most athletes struggle with this phase of sprinting, but the problem is this is foundational for a fast 40-yard dash, for blowing past a defender, or for winning the critical 100-meter dash. Typically, if you're an athlete who feels slow and unathletic during this phase, you will have to focus up on building your squat and deadlift strength to improve your short acceleration. But what if I told you you were close, but one small change would drastically improve your speed from slow to explosive? This research study highlights the importance of developing ballistic strength. To train this, we focus on non-counter movement exercises, which involve pausing for 3 to 5 seconds to remove something called the stretch shortening cycle from your jumps and lifts. For example, instead of a repeat jump, you would snap to the ground, pause to remove the stretch shortening cycle, then jump as high as possible. When you pair this type of training with explosive jumps and concentric focused lifts, this will train your ballistic muscular strength instead of relying on your stretch shortening cycle to produce power. While most lifting does help you produce high amounts of force, it's because you have more time to lift the weight. But in sprinting, we do not have that time to produce a high amount of force, so we end up producing low force at low speeds. But with this style of training, you will prepare your muscles to produce high force at high speeds. So here are the 3 exercises I like to focus on the Speed Academy to improve ballistic strength. Number 1 is a non-counter movement squat jump. The best way to do this is with bands or 10 to 20% of your body weight using dumbbells. For reps and sets, I would do 3 to 4 sets of 4 to 8 reps. The next one you could try is a non-counter movement box squat, ideally landing in a half squat position and making sure you don't sit back while sitting on the bench. Then you want to focus on exploding up as fast as possible and don't let the concentric be over 0.6 seconds. For reps and sets, I would do 3 to 4 sets of 3 to 6 reps. My favorite example is 4x4. Number 3 is non-counter movement broad jumps. The goal is to jump as far as possible while pausing between reps. For reps and sets, I would do 3 to 4 sets of 1 to 3 reps. But if you develop ballistic strength without developing this next quality, then you'll be muscularly strong and explosive, but you won't become an elastic dominant athlete. If you're doing all this, but you're still struggling to get faster, there's likely a key element you're missing in this training. So if you click the top link in the description or the pinned comment, it will take you to the Speed Academy, where I will personally help you optimize your sprint training for even better speed gains. If you want to transform your speed, click the link in the bio or in the pinned comment. Look at these 2 athletes from PJF. They both are doing the same type of jump with small changes. And the reason why this athlete jumps higher is because he's utilizing a superpower that I'll show you how to train in a bit. Many athletes have muscular strength but lack the ability to store and release elastic energy quickly. This research study shows the differences between 2 squats. As PJF stated, this regular squat hits this amount of peak forces around the middle of the lift, so the half squat position of the movement. And this fast eccentric squat hits this amount of peak forces at the bottom and the toe off of each movement. The fast eccentric squat matches the same amount of peak forces that you see in sprinting and jumping, which is significantly higher than you see in any lift. The only exercises that even come comparable to this would be hang high pulls or power cleans. This type of training is shown to be effective with the force velocity curve for sprinting, especially when you're developing something called speed strength. Speed strength is the ability of the neuromuscular system to produce the greatest amount possible impulse in the shortest amount of time. This type of training is what I call eccentric overload training. Unlike supermax eccentric lifts where you go 10 to 20% of your 1 rep max and then you unload the weight, most athletes will think eccentric overload and instantly go to supermax eccentric based lifts, stuff where you go 10 to 20% of your regular 1 rep max and then you lower as slow as possible and then drop the weight. But the problem with this is that the velocity of the lift is too slow and the tendons adapt to the velocity of your lift, which means this would not transfer over to sprint speed or vertical jump. But with this approach, we use 40 to 60% of your max for powerful eccentric movements that develop the ability to produce force at the point of reversal, which is the name of athleticism. Which by training this, once you finish the lift, you will be producing net more force than any basic squat pattern. Here are the best lifts for this style of training. Number 1 is reversal strength squats. Do 3 to 4 sets of 3 to 6 reps at maximum speed for 40 to 60% of your 1 rep max. It's basically a high bar squat, a trap bar deadlift, or a Smith machine, and you're dropping as fast as possible into a half squat position and then trying to reverse out the bottom as fast as possible. You should be dropping so fast that your feet almost lift off the ground. We want to turn off the muscles, catch at the bottom, turn on the muscles, and explode up as fast as possible. Number 2 is the rear foot elevated split squat drop catch. This is the same sets and reps, so 3 to 4 sets and 3 to 6 reps, but we're focusing on max speed with 40 to 60% of your 1 rep max. Now this is basically the same exact cues that you would get for a reversal strength squat, but now we're going on one leg. Number 1, the reversal strength squat, 3 to 4 sets of 3 to 6 reps for maximum speed, and then for loading, you're going up to 50% of your body weight with band tension if possible. If you don't have band tension, then you can go up another 10 to 20% in load. And the goal here is to drop as fast as possible to a half squat position with a trap bar, a Smith machine, or a barbell, and then explode up as fast as possible. Without the stiffness needed to handle high forces, you will have slack in the body that will make your explosiveness worse. That's where this next style of training comes in. Get into a lunge position and hold this for 3 minutes. If you're already struggling at 30 seconds, then you need this style of training. The goal is to eliminate compensation and develop something called intramuscular stiffness, or some people might call active stiffness. These are 2 big factors that are limiting intermediate to advanced athletes from breaking through their plateaus. To further show you the importance of this training, research shows the impact of yielding isometrics have on stiffness during sprinting and jumping. But many athletes misunderstand stiffness. It's not just about ankle stiffness. We want active muscular stiffness across the knee, the hip, the ankle, the hamstrings, and any prime mover muscle for sprinting. Training this quality will prevent any energy leak and ensures explosive force production. We start athletes off with yielding isometrics to build stiffness, tendon health, elasticity, and remove compensations from improper or high volume lifting. Here are 2 effective ways to use isometrics in your training. Number 1 is the single leg isometric wall hold. Hold this for 1 to 3 sets of 45 seconds to 3 minutes. Aim for a hold time of 2 to 3 minutes to ensure tendon strength and movement quality is at its maximum. You do not want to challenge stability, so get into a single leg calf raise, hold onto a wall or to a pole, and then focus on just contracting the calf and holding that position without falling over. Number 2 is the isometric 90-degree lunge. Same sets and reps as above. Achieving 2 to 3 minutes shows that you're building the right structure for speed and explosiveness. You want to make sure that the back leg is pointing straight down and that the knee is directly above the toe. And for the front leg, you want the vertical shin or a slightly forward shin with the knee directly above the toe. If you try these methods but you still feel like you're not getting faster, watch this video right here to learn how to properly train your speed in as little time as possible.